Well, Sudan is facing one of the worst crises in education in the world. Since April 2023, conflict has forced more than 6,000 schools to close. Many have been damaged, others are being used to shelter families. And that means more than 8 million children can't go to class. They missed around 500 days of school. That's longer than during the COVID-19 pandemic. But unlike COVID, there's no online alternative, and children have been left with no way to continue their education. Well, Laura Frigenti is joining us in the studio. She's the CEO of the Global Partnership for Education. It's an initiative aimed at improving access to and the quality of education in developing nations. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. Before we get on to the specific needs of children in Sudan and areas like that, I want to ask you, how does fighting like this affect children's ability to be able to learn and their mental state?
Thank you so much, Rob. This is a fundamentally important question because, first of all, the fighting disrupts the continuity in the school. In the case of Sudan, that we will be discussing later, so many families are internally displaced. They are refugees within their own countries or in other countries, and of course, that disrupts the pace. But then there is also the mental stability. That is affected by that. Children that have gone through shocks, they can very rarely focus very quickly and learn the kind of things that are offered to them through the education system. This is why in contexts like this, one of the things that our organization, the Global Partnership for Education, offers immediately, even before resuming learning, is psycho-emotional support to bring them back to a situation of normalcy. And that is a precondition for them to actually be able to learn.
So in terms, this conflict's been going on for about 2 years. If the children are out of school for that long, how does that affect their future prospects?
It affects them badly for various reasons. The first one is that we have seen, for example, in the case of COVID, that when children are out of the school system for a while, even when education then is resumed, they don't necessarily go back to school. And so that is one point, that sometimes just being displaced means the end of their, education trajectory. The second thing is that, of course, the quality of education is dramatically limited because the teachers, for example, are also among those that may be internally displaced, etc. The school, and in Sudan, unfortunately, we have several examples, is not a safe place because there are violence and retaliation, etc. And so family may decide, particularly for girls, that they are safer at home or closer to their family than they are. So there is a whole series of, unfortunately, a vicious circle of complexity that, happens. And this is why I think bringing them back to school as soon as possible, even if the school is not the school that we have in mind with the nice wall and the nice roof, is something that is very, very important.
I want to ask you about that. We were talking about the level of devastation that has been across Sudan. 6,000 schools, some of them damaged, some of them being used by shelters. So if you don't have that physical facility to focus children's minds, how do you teach children under those circumstances?
So you have various options. At best, you can give them a temporary school, like in a tent, for example. In refugee camps, this is the way that education services are given. At worst, you just keep them in whatever place is safe enough for them to meet around a teacher, and that in itself is a good solution because it keeps them grounded, first of all, with other children. One of the things that we are seeing is that being away from school has also an impact on the social skills of the children, because school is much more than learning. School teaches you how to be among your peers, how to socialize, how to, be a social being. And so just being together is in itself a good option.
Your organization, if I understand it, is struggling to raise hoping to raise, I should say, about $15 billion. Now, this is for grants for education in developing countries. It's up until 2030, I believe. We're going through a period where the kind of donations that would go to aid agencies are dropping significantly around the world. Just briefly, how optimistic are you you're going to be able to get the money you need?
Well, you cannot be in my line of business if you are not optimistic, because you have to think that you are on a positive trajectory. But I think that what you said is correct, that several of the traditional donors are reducing their support to global development in general, not just education. And this is why our organization, long before the current crisis, has really started thinking, how can we use our resources in a way that is more productive? How can we leverage our money to attract to the sector donors that are non-traditional? And we have been very successful, and I hope that we will continue being very successful.
Laura Frigenti, we appreciate you coming on Al Jazeera. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much for having me.
Don't miss out and get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.